Pario magazine, where I chat with individuals who have a desire to create. Today, I'm joined by one of the 5 nominees for the 2022 Telstra Ballet Dancer Awards. Welcome to Pario magazine, Adam Elmes.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
We're here today, obviously, to chat about the nomination for the Ballet Dancer Awards. Before we do, though, are you able to sort of tell our audience a little bit about who Adam is when he's not dancing?
Yeah, of course. So I've been a dancer my whole life. So dancing is a very big part of who I am and my identity. But apart from that, I've recently come to terms with calling myself a gamer. So I've always loved video games. It's something I do definitely socially. I think that gets a bad rap, but socially, I love to game with friends. And that extends to board games and card games. I love a good games night. But apart from that, I'm someone who loves books. I'm living down south of Melbourne, so love going to the beach. Just love spending time with friends and family.
Okay.
And
Do you
yeah,
have a
dancing.
favorite game?
Yeah, I play Overwatch a lot. That's one I've played since it was released. So it's very close to my heart, but I mean, recent times, it hasn't developed too much recently. So I don't know if it's beating a dead horse yet, but I still find it fun.
Okay. I imagine that surprises a lot of people when you say, I'm a gamer and I play Overwatch.
Yeah, well, I think it does. That's why I, decide whether I should lead with it, because most people wouldn't put a ballet dancer with a gamer. But there's a lot of different facets to gaming that I think people underestimate. So, yeah.
Okay. And then on the dance side, when did you first discover dance and in particular ballet?
Yeah, so my mum is a dancer. She was a contemporary dancer for a few years. So it's definitely been something that's in my family and been in my blood for a very long time. So I danced around the house when I was little before I even did classes. Um, but I began proper classes as early as I could. I think I was around 8, and I started with a variety of things like jazz, contemporary, hip hop, ballet. Um, I really loved performing mostly. I like the art of dance. But then along my path, that found its way into ballet. Ballet's super technical and it's got so much strength and structure that I admire so much. So yeah, I ended up auditioning for the Australian Ballet School and then following that path. And I've landed here in the Australian Ballet. And I really, couldn't be happier.
Was the film Elliot pivotal for your career as well?
Yeah, I didn't see it when I was at the age of what Billy was. I should have seen that film, but I didn't see it until later. However, one of my first dance pieces I did was Billy Elliot soundtrack, like boxing gloves around my neck that we like swung and threw, and my mum choreographed it, and it was pretty cool. So I feel Billy Elliot in that way.
Okay. And then when people think of ballet, they obviously typically think of the female side of the performance. How do you feel about that stereotype and sort of breaking that down as a man in the industry?
Yeah, I think that's an unavoidable stereotype because I think, especially like the culture we have in Australia, ballet isn't a thing you would think for men. Women tend to be allowed to be more feminine and more dainty and beautiful. Um, I think it's a shame a little bit because I have always felt a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more artistic, and less masculine in a lot of ways. So I think being in ballet and being that way for a long time, I was a bit insecure about it because I didn't want to be seen as one of the just the girly girls because that's not really who I am. Um, but yeah, I just encourage all men to embrace who they are and like if that's something you want to go towards dancing, you should absolutely do it. There is nothing pushovery or weak about ballet. Ballet is an extremely difficult sport. Um, I'm an extremely fit and extremely strong person because of it, and I don't feel like any less of a man because of it. I think there's um, intersectionalities in being a man. You don't have to be one version of it. Yeah.
Do you think perhaps if ballet was framed more as a sport rather than an artistic medium, it might be more acceptable for men?
Yeah, I suppose. I think there is that thing towards the arts and towards sports. There is that difference. But I would say a main thing is just, I think a performance art and such an expressive one, I think it's difficult for men to get into that without feeling a little bit of shame and ridicule from other men and other people. Um, People always say that, like, should we call dance a sport? I will kind of call it a sport because it is as difficult as a sport, and it served the same purpose to me in my life. But really, it's an art form, and so it'll never be the same as footy, and I don't think it should be. But I would love to see men not be ashamed to do art. It doesn't have to be called a sport for them to do it. Um, it's an art. It's beautiful. It's tough, but anyone can do it. Yeah.
Did you ever face sort of bullying or negativity as a kid doing ballet?
Yeah. So I think every male dancer has faced some amount of bullying and ridicule. I have actually been quite fortunate in my life. It was very minimal bullying. Um, but something that was difficult for me was my whole family has danced. As I've said, my mum was a dancer, so me and my three siblings all danced, including my older brother. Um, and he's a huge role model for me. I've always looked up to my brother, but he got pretty intensely bullied for it. And that weighed really heavily on me because he started doing ballet classes because I needed more guys in the class to fill out the class so that we could actually have a boys class. And then he ended up being bullied for it. And I felt a little bit of guilt and a little bit of like, I need to make sure this is worth it now. Like, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my brother. Yeah, thankfully I managed to, I think I always had a little bit of stubbornness as a kid of just like, this is what I do. This is who I am. Like, if someone's like, oh, do you do ballet? It's just like, yes, I do. And if you think that's weird, you can think that's weird. I do that. That's who I am. I'm glad I had that because I think it's pretty difficult to be a guy in dance, and to be a guy who's just outside the box. I think it's tricky in this time. Yeah.
Is that still a sort of driving motivation for you now, or do you have sort of bigger motives behind pursuing dance?
Yeah. So I think that'll always be something for me. I definitely dance for my family, as I was saying. Um, I moved from Sydney to Melbourne to pursue dance when I went to the school full time. So there's definitely those sacrifices that were made by my family. My mum moved over with me, so my siblings didn't have my mum around for a while. So that's, yeah, such a driving force for me. I'm making sure that I do this and I succeed. I make all those sacrifices we've all had to make worth it in the end. But I think a big driving force for me, aside from that, is just expression and making people feel things, and I don't know, little bits of change that I can instill in people. Um, I feel like there's nothing better than giving your heart on the stage and then hearing from someone like, you made me cry. I don't even know why. You just made me cry in that performance, or that touched me so much, or it helps people realize things about themselves. It helps people think about anything in their life. Like that's so amazing to me. That's why I'm an artist, is to just little bits of change in people's lives that I can make. Yeah.
Do you feel platforms like TikTok are sort of helping to normalize dance and change people's lives in that way as well?
Yeah, I do actually. Um, TikTok is a whole chaotic social media website, but it's quite a lot of fun. And I like seeing the fun come out in dance. And I especially like seeing guys dancing, just because I think there's such this weird shame for men to not be feminine and not be like gay or anything like that. I just love seeing guys express themselves, and they're always having so much fun, moving their bodies, smiling, just being silly, being expressive. So yeah, I totally do. I like that dancing is a trend.
And you mentioned sort of wanting to make sure that this was all worth it. Was the nomination for the Telstra Ballet Awards sort of the top recognition that could you could get?
Yeah, honestly, like there's a few times where I will call back my family in Sydney and say, like, guys, guess what? This just happened. One of them was getting into the company. Another one will probably be if I can make it to principal in the company. And then another one is the Telstra Ballet Award. Those are, to me, are like three of the largest accomplishments you can make in regards to the Australian ballet. Yeah, it was amazing, especially in such a tough time in the last few years. Coming out of the woods a little bit and getting this nomination was just like emotionally so fulfilling. It made me so happy. It's like a high that I've been riding for the last few months. Yeah.
And then obviously this year that the awards are skewed more towards men, with it being 3 men and 2 ladies. Is that important as well?
Yeah, so there was another nominee who unfortunately had to withdraw because of an injury, which is just a reality of ballet. But yeah, I have thought about that. I'm like, for more, probably the first time in a long while, there's more guys in here than girls. Um, I think there's a part of me that always loves to see men being expressive and being themselves and being, yeah, free to just succeed and do the things that they want to do. Um, I think that's just something that was important to me growing up. So I'm really proud of standing here with Lucy and with Tom, two really good friends of mine and amazing dancers. But yeah, let that not be any spotlight cast away from Rena and Lily. I'm like honored to be amongst this group of dancers that are all so amazing.
What would it mean to you to win either the Rising Star or the People's Choice Award?
Yeah, so honestly, either would be like amazing because both are chosen by people who I admire and respect. So the People's Choice is obviously the audience. So having that affirmation from the audience is amazing because that's what you do as an artist. You perform for the audience so that they can feel things and they can enjoy your show. So that is amazing. But the Rising Star Award is chosen by the ballet and people in the arts and people from Telstra. So it's really like affirmation from the people directly around me in my field. So really, it says it in the name, to be called a rising star by all of those people is just like, that's the peak like award that anyone could be given in their field. So yeah, it would be amazing.
And looking ahead, now that the world is sort of opening back up, live performances are coming back, where would you like ballet to take you? And is there like a dream role or a dream stage that you would like to perform on?
Yeah, so yeah, COVID has hit like right at the beginning of my career and right when I finished school. So I feel like usually you'd finish school and then you'd travel overseas or you'd go to a company and you'd travel with them. So I have done zero traveling just in my whole life. So honestly, anywhere. I've always wanted to visit Japan. Um, I think, yeah, performing anywhere in Japan, in Tokyo, I'd love to visit, in Osaka. Um, that would be a dream. Um, Also, New Zealand, I've always wanted to visit countries that are important to me and my family or my friends. And they're just nearby. I'd love to just go visit literally anywhere. Yeah, but especially with David Hallberg as the director, he has a lot of friends and contacts that he knows all around the world. So hopefully, once everything subsides, you'll see us ballet going overseas, and it'll be pretty amazing.
Is there a dream role?
Oh yeah, gosh, I'd love to do really any. So we're doing Kunstkammer later in the year. Um, Anything in that ballet. That ballet is amazing. It's got these incredible choreographers, Crystal Pite, Paul Lightfoot, Sol Leon, and Marco Guecke. Um, they are like the epitome of contemporary choreographers to me. So I love Alexander Ekman. His Cacti I loved, so I'd love to be in that. But in terms of ballets, I've always had a soft spot for James in La Solfède. I like that he's more petit allegro jumpy as a male dancer. A little bit less of, I'm not so much of a trick dancer, it's a little bit more of the intricate technique. Yeah, and I'd love to do even Siegfried from Swan Lake. I think would be great. It's a classic, beautiful male role. I think that's pretty stunning. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, where is the best place for people to support you and track this creative journey moving forward?
Yeah, so if you head over to my social media, Adam Elmes on Instagram and on TikTok, there will be a plethora of things going on there throughout the campaign. But visiting Telstra Ballet Dancer Awards, look that up online. You can vote for any of the 5 nominees. But yeah, I'm sure if you look up just those words into Google, you'll get heaps of content. It's very exciting to do all of these photo shoots and video shoots and everything. But yeah, please follow me on Instagram.
Okay, wonderful. And we'll put the link below and in the article for the voting for the Telstra Ballet Awards. So good luck with that. And thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you so much. It's really been an honor.